Well, hello, my Facebook friends. I'm so glad you joined me today. Today we are going to talk about doers. Now, what is a doer? Well, simply put, it's someone who does something. Well, I want to go to the book of 2 Samuel, chapter number 23. And in verse number 20, in the midst of this passage talking about David's mighty men, there's a man named Benaiah. And in the English Standard Bible, it says this: he was a doer of great deeds. He was a doer of great deeds. And then in verse 21 and verse 23, we go ahead and read about him. And it says in verse 20, it says he struck down two heroes of Moab. Two heroes, two men, no doubt they were strong, they were mighty men, and he struck them down. And then also in verse 20, it said he struck down a lion in a pit on a snowy day. Now I thought about this. First of all, a lion is something bigger than we are, and that's a big feat for him to strike a lion, but it was a snowy day. A snowy day, you know, it's going to be cold outside, a little chilly here today, and it looks like it could snow, not quite cold enough, but the fact is that it was cold out there if it was a snowy day. And when it's cold, it's no doubt slippery, and so he had to go in a slippery, snowy, cold pit to kill this lion that was greater than he was. And then in verse number 21, it says he struck down an Egyptian. And it was so incredible how he just took the spear out of the Egyptian's hand and killed him with his own spear. This man was a doer of great deeds, this Benaiah. And in verse 23, it says that David set him over his bodyguard. Oh, that was a good man to set as a bodyguard and over the men who watch over David, the king, is this man who was a doer of great deeds. You know, I was thinking about that word doer, and I went to the book of James, chapter number 1. In verse number 22, it says this: but be doers of the word and not hearers only. You see, there's a lot of people that hear the word, they know the word, but they're not doers of the word. They don't practice the word. And also in James chapter 4, verse 17, it says this about, it says, so whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. So what are we to do? Well, in the context of what James is talking about, we are to do the will of God, do what the word says. And we are to act upon what the word, not just to hear it. You know, you go to church, you hear lots of sermons, you turn the radio or the television on, you hear lots of sermons. But the fact is we've got to apply them and do them. And so, my friends, I believe that we can do great exploits. In fact, Daniel chapter 11, verse 32, the latter part says, the people who know their God shall be strong and do great exploits. You see, if we know God, if we're doers and obedient to his word, and we know him, I believe we can be strong and do things out of the ordinary. He can help us in whatever we attempt to do, you know. And we go back to Benaiah. You see, Benaiah, I'm sure it was a strength of God that helped him to do what he did. He was faithful to his king David, but he was also faithful to God, I'm sure, because God, he would not be able to do what he did without the help of God. So if we are doers of the word, and we, not just hearers only, but we're doers of the word, we practice the word, I believe God will help us to be strong and do great exploits, things that we could not have imagined. We might be the next one going down into a snowy pit and killing the lion, figuratively speaking perhaps, but you and I may be the ones that God will give us the strength to defeat the enemies that are around us, the enemies in our life, the struggles. I want to tell you, my friends, let us be doers of the word and not hearers only. God bless. We'll see you back tomorrow. Bye-bye.